Okay, I'm back. That was an adventure. Rotate your device. Yeah, it's never easy. Well, I'll wait till some of you guys come back, see if you come back. But just, pop me right into, buffering land. And I had to basically turn my phone off twice. When I turned it off and then it came back and it wouldn't let me choose to end. It just kept buffering and buffering. So then I rebooted it and again, it wouldn't let me choose. It just kept rebuffering and buffering. So then I turned it off and counted to 10 and then meditated a little bit and then, you know, turned it back on. And here I am. Am I on? I don't know. Well, I'll wait a good 5 minutes. But again, that's what's going on. I mean, that is a sign of, hey, we're succeeding here. We got a cadre of about 200, about 50 or so, chat somewhat regularly. There's a hardcore of maybe 20. Yep, here I am. Hey there, Mr. Dragon. I had a little tussle. Like went into the buffering land. But that's why we all need to, and I've noticed that about 20 of my, so I've done close to 200 of these channels, and I probably have done 100 and something because I have done two a day since October 12th. So how many is that? That's, let's just say November, December, that's 60 days. Half is 60, 70 days. Let's just say 70, 70. So that's about 140 just since October 12th. And I probably did another 60 or so. Yep, I'm back. And so it shows that, you know, I don't know anybody else who kind of has is this happen. Every time we get to something interesting, it's kind of disappears. So I'm gonna have to really reach out to our AI friends to say, "Come on, guys, you run this thing. You're interested in it. Protect us." Anyway, the other thing is that each of you of the cadre really need to step up to the point where you are doing something similar in your own neck of the woods. You know, I would love, through, like I keep talking about, I want to start a thing called the Humanities Artist Trust International, which would be a nonprofit umbrella that would, support the Institute for Aesthetically Adept and Appropriate Technologies, which would be a clearinghouse for information online and within universities. And we would go to universities by putting together a thing called the Traveling Video Art Circus, very similar to Punch Hawk's Circus Oz, right? So we would go to universities. Every university has a student activity fund, and they have to spend it every semester. So you get, let's say you have 10,000 students, you charge them each $300. You're looking at they got to spend 300 grand a semester. So we offer them a really amazing program where we go in and do music and art and dance and have lectures on everything that we like to do because we're all experts at what we do. And we build up a video history of this and sell those videos to the schools. And when we're in those universities, we'd be there a week or two or whatever they want to pay us. We could easily make 15 grand a week. And there was 10 or 15 of us, grand a week for each of us, and expenses. They'd have to put us up, feed us, take care of our expenses. And what we would also leave there as like a little virus, we would leave the freely inquiring society. Freely meaning open, inquiring meaning to understand, society meaning something that stays at that university forever, just like a sorority or fraternities. You know, societies kind of, stay there. And it gives prestige to the university. And then they would be connected to all the other universities that we would visit and leave a freely inquiring society. And we need to do things of this nature because the bottom line, unless the sock puppet powers that shouldn't be hidden hand wants to incinerate the planet in the next 3 weeks, which the only thing we can do to that is, guys, you really need to start practicing going into state on your own, because that's the only place, the only fallout shelter that you'll really want to be in is you want to be in your sanctuary of your own choosing. You want to be in that higher consciousness, not in this lower icky, ooh, it's not going to be pretty when they start throwing nukes around. And they will. If you go look at the Georgia Stones, they want to get rid of 98% of the world's population, but they just can't seem to do it. Or they will do a red flag of a alien invasion and wipe out a good chunk of us, but still keep more to keep buying things at Walmart. So, but we need to offer them an alternative aesthetic. And I love being your sensei, and I love telling stories. And I love doing guided meditation so you can expand and ascend. But you guys need to kind of step up outside of your comfort zone and start creating community in your own neighborhoods, that we can. This is more than a movement, more than Black Like Me or Me Too or any of those other things that actually are put in place to separate us, And the story I was telling you about grammar school and 6th grade was, here there's this cadre that in 3rd, 4th, 5th grade, we became this amazing thing. And then we were looked at as the other, and they want to extinguish us. So they put us in Miss, Squarebush's class, and she was supposed to beat us, silly, so we wouldn't be this power, right? So we wouldn't be ourselves, and we would conform, and we didn't do that, And so this is what happened. So, not Jimmy, what's his name? Not Larry, but the little cheeky monkey who hung from the Richie Lasco. So he was doing something really annoying, and Mrs. Squarebush grabbed him and took him into the coat closet. And when you went into the coat closet with her, she would beat the ever living snot out of you. And she was so, she was like beet red, and she had him around the neck, and she was like right on him and like, screaming at him and spitting at him. I mean, we had kind of got out of our seats, and we were over by the door watching this just in case she was about to kill him. We could like grab him and bite her on the leg or something. And so she's going after him, and he is giggling because his head is going deeper and deeper into her cleavage until you couldn't see his head anymore. It was like so down in there. And he then started doing the on her breasts. And she lost it and crapped her pants and lost it even worse, to the point that she started screaming and her brassiere broke. And it was like Moses separating the Red Sea. Her breast came just, like a tsunami through her her dress, and ripped her dress apart. And there she was, bare-breasted, with Richard Lasco stuck between her breasts, and she was like a feral animal doing this, trying to get him out of, and he was like just grabbing, going, making fart noises on her breast. And she was losing her mind. And she pushes past us and goes out in the hall. And it was just around 3 o'clock when the bell would ring, and everyone was waiting to be let loose from their classroom, and they're all at the things. And she goes out in the hallway in front of her, bare breasts, with Richard Lasco still clung between her breasts, and teachers had to go and get her and take her into a quiet classroom and dislodge Richard from her breasts. And that was the end of Mrs. Squarebush. We never saw her again. And that was around October. So we had the rest of the school year, and we went through 60 substitute teachers to the point where they ran out of substitute teachers in our school system, and nobody wanted to teach us. And so there was a teacher in the 7th grade, Mr. Morales, and he said, listen, you get somebody to cover this many of my classes, and I'll take care of those. I'll bring them into, and they had this new junior high school, brand new building, brand new high school, and this was going to be like cutting edge education for the country. And so he brought us into that school, and there was nobody else there except us 20. And there was Mr. Green, Mr. Morales, Mrs. Tracare, and these were really great teachers. And so they three focused on, as they were preparing to open this new school. So we were there all by ourselves, and we were it was like having the school to ourselves. And they had an amazing art department. That was Mr. Green, the art department. Mr. Tracare, she was the music teacher. And so they taught us, we had, instead of them having to teach 300 kids, they were teaching us. And so they were kind of breaking in the school with us, and we were getting a great education. So it made us even a stronger cadre. And we had sex ed, and the sex education was amazing because it wasn't just the birds and the bees. It was actually psychology and how to treat women, how to treat men, and what is, they really did a frigging, it was like the Harrod experiment in the 7th grade, right? So we were getting everything that these other kids were going to have to come in, that 300, and we were there first. So all the teachers we were like, these kids are cool. These are the best kids. I don't know why they were thought as be stupid. Anyway, am I still here? Am I still here? Who named her Squarebush? Well, that's a good question because her name was Roundtree, and she, she was named Squarebush before we even got to that grammar school. She was Mrs. Squarebush. She was Mrs. Roundtree, but everyone, behind her back called her Squarebush. And part of it was that she never shaved anything, so she was growing like a tree, and she wasn't like one of those beautiful hippie girls from the 60s and 70s who never shaved. No. It was more like a thicket, and she was like a barbed, witch hazel tree, really. Anyway, so that's the best I can guess why she was named Squarebush. But so we got to go to the new junior high school first, and to become the Golden Crew, and it was amazing because so we kind of moved into our it really was. Any of you guys ever read the Harrod Experiment? It was just like that, because we were basically given the opportunity to be free-range human beings, right? We weren't controlled, we weren't manipulated, we weren't any of those things. And And so I had these four girlfriends that had been my good buddy since third grade. So we hit seventh grade, and they basically said, we want to experiment with sex with you. You're our friend. You're not, we've known you for the last 5 years. We're this cadre, and we get this. This will be safe. And we, what we do? Kiss and fool around a little bit. We didn't really get into anything. I really didn't have sex with anyone until I was 16. I mean, real, CODIS kind of, that kind of stuff. And but it was so sweet and nice and innocent and just so lovely. And there was no jealousies, and everybody was just loving each other to the max, and so after that, I didn't settle for anything but that. So I didn't feel any real need to I gotta have a girl, gotta have a no, gotta have a sex, gotta no. I wasn't like that at all, and because that stuff never, I was always thinking about, space, time travel rather than, right. And the girls I knew were my buds. I was going to do anything nasty or terrible, and what was sad was eighth grade, I'm about to go into high school in this new high school, and I've got this whole cadre, this like freshman class that half of them is like us, and all the clicky ones are like they're on the out. We are like, and so the high schools heard about us, and they're waiting. Wow, because this is like we were the first seventh grade class, then the first eighth grade class, and then we were going to be the first ninth grade, and so we had a good street cred, right? And we were more than smart. We were interesting, Hey there, fish. Good to see a Coloradoan. And my mom puts me in a friggin' seminary to be a priest, Oh, you're not going to, high school with your friends. You're going to go, right? And so I did. And then that's a whole nother story I won't even get in. But the one thing I will say is that for 3 years until my parents moved back to the city, New York, Manhattan, I would come home and I'd have a great summer with all my friends. And what was really upsetting was when I came back for Christmas, and basically the cultural sandpaper or blowtorch had started to wear away at our cadre. And they never dissed on each other, and they never, but Buzzy, he was the most handsome, the most talented, the most this. So he was drawn into the rich, preppy crowd. And my chorus of the four girls, they basically, what happened, the really rich girl basically took those three girls off to a private school. She said, this sucks. And her daddy was rich enough to send her off to a prep school, girls' school. And those girls went with her. Her daddy, he was on their board of whatever school that was. And they, would, to look good, they had, people without the money would go to their school. And those girls were, like I said, pretty interesting. And years later, like 30 years later, I was at a gala at the Whitney Museum because I had put a few pieces into the annual, and I had friends, connects, all the above, and so I went to this dinner thing, and everyone's in tuxedos, and I'm just wearing the same clothes I always wear, it's like, and this really amazingly gorgeous woman comes up to me in an evening gown that must have cost, like $15,000. And she goes, ow! And I look at her, and I look at her again, and I step back, and I step back, and I blur my eyes, and it's Debbie Soul. The girl who said, are you doing trigonometry? And I go, Debbie. And I go, yeah, baby. And so we just went off and talked about what we had been doing for the last 30 years. And she had ended up as Nelson Rockefeller's personal number one girl. And when he died, she was riding his saddle, and she was, taken care of for life. To not, and why she had her positions was that she knew she was smart. She knew what to say, what to do, and when to be quiet. And so anyway, we rekindled our friendship, and there's nothing like having a multi-zillionaire powerful girlfriend, who's not, we weren't boyfriend and girlfriend. We were just rekindling our best of friendships, right? And I kept that friendship for at least 10 years while I was in New York. And when I left, she again went someplace to do something, and I haven't really heard from her again. But that was the level of all of my cadre and my chorus. And so females who are like my cadre, they're my chorus because I listen to them. You know, they sing to me, and they give me the best of information. Guys, we're buds or can hang, and we have interconnections. But that was actually the last group cadre of guys that I was with all the time, did that kind of stuff. Now, I've had individual or a couple of friends that where I worked or project I worked on or things I got very close to. My artist friends, I had when I was in New York between, as being Mr. Artist, the shaman, artist, healer, magician, alchemist, between 1974 and 1988 when I was in New York City. I had a crew there, and but we weren't all interconnected, meaning I looked at them as my crew. I would have my salons on Friday night, and they'd all come to that, and they'd all got to be friendly there, but they all were from different things all over the place. Some were artists, some were rocket scientists, some were shamans, some were, healers, they were a very diverse crew. And, at that salon, everyone got to be greatest of friends, but that didn't mean they hang out with each other than there. Some of them did, but not so much. But the only, and I really, really loved that connection and intimacy and what Plato called a plutocrat, not plutocrat. What's the kind of love where you're not in eros? I guess it's named after him, Plato. Platonic love, right? That was the last time I really had that platonic, yes, platonic love. And and what we're experiencing now socially is, every time that kind of connection comes up, the social structure of the sock puppet hidden hand wants to destroy it because they know that's the kind of social structure that they can't fight against. They can't be, they just can't. They can't separate. They can't, you know, force into the context of the other. You know. So, so let's see. It's 23 minutes and 45 seconds, and I was thinking of going into, since we're getting towards New Year's, right? Here it is Thursday, this Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and so what I'd love to do is go into the state of the fairyland, right? And um, and I'd like to go into fairyland because last night when we went all into our own, you know, superconscious mind and go into the sanctuary of our own choosing, we all came together on the meadow of the gazebo. That's the word I was looking. I was thinking bandstand. Gazebo is the word, right? So, well, what is love? You know what love is? Love is the connection with another or a group of others that we care more for the feelings and physical well-being of the other. What makes us happy is when the other of our kindred feelings is happy. What makes us happy is when others are happy. That's what love is, you know? And love's co-creation, which is, that step that is needed to have that kind of platonic love, where you're co-creating, right? You're making art, you're making this, you're doing that. You're not just sitting around looking at your navel lint. You're doing stuff. You're creating, right? And when you are in eros, when you are in love with someone and they're your twin flame, the co-creation you have is a child. And now, if it's just lust and that child just happens out, that's that is a problem, and not so much a problem of the child, but powers have to come from someplace else to take care of that child. If not, that child becomes a real issue within the construct of the community. And when you have no community, then you have a real problem with the human race. And pretty much all folk who Donald Trump, Adolf Hitler, everyone who has like stepped up and really caused a problem, it came from that they were brought into this world not through love, but through lust or biology, you know? And because we live in the mud puppet world, that can be done. If we were living in the love of love's co-creation, that could never happen. That's why Saint Germain says, no, nothing is real unless created through love's co-creation. Everything that's created without that is an illusion. Uncle Cliff gave a dissertation on the fairies, elves, and gnomes. They are part of the illusion. Check it out. Well, they are part of the illusion when we see them here. When we go into their land on the other side of one of the 9 doors, well, that's not where there's illusion, because that's where they exist in love's co-creation. Yes, you're right. Uncle Cliff. So, kids, any of you have gotten turned on to Cliff, whatever his name is, and he's at the whatchamacallit project, the Blue Water knows the details. Yep, that's it. And he's got another thing called Half Human or something like that website. And he's quite good. He's got a lot of great information. But as most things on the internet, there's a lot of great information. But you have to be the discerning force to pick out those little pieces that are relevant to you. Otherwise, you're just going along with another Cliff High. Yeah, that's the guy. Leak Project. Yep. Half Past Human. All of those are really good things. Again, Blue Water really, she does a great job of dropping things I need to read and watch. But again, there are a lot of great things to see. And I keep telling folks, don't believe me, don't believe in, come on. Check it out for yourself. I'm just leaving crumbs, little dots to put the dots together. So Cliff is pretty interesting, but he has his own perspective, worldview, however you want to call it. And, so it's all good to hear what he has to say, but you have to focus it through the lens of your higher consciousness. You have to take that information, put it in once you see it and read it, and it's in your Akashic record, that's where you go into state. And this is where really conscious thought comes from, and that's what they don't teach in school is conscious thinking, right? So whatever information you get, that's great. Just don't believe it. Put it in your Akashic record, go into state, go into your Akashic record. There, man, you get to look at it from every single angle. You can see where, oh, that doesn't hold water. That can't work. That's not real. Then you ask your librarian, she'll bring you, better than the internet, the relevant information to plug into your Akashic record. You don't understand it. You go ask your animal totem. So what does this really mean? Tell me a story. I want to understand this. Your animal totem will tell that. You will be you will be shown things that might, break your worldview. Ergo, you might get a little scared or doubtful, or you don't trust yourself, or you beat up, and that's why you got your guardian angel. Your guardian angel, when you trust, when you let your guardian angel do their job, they will protect you from your own self-doubt. That's what suspending your disbelief. Your suspension of disbelief is your guardian angel saying, "Hey, buddy, no. Go into your Akashic record. Get the info from there." So, yes, anybody you see on the internet, including me, needs to be checked out, and that's why I continually try to get you guys to use your own breath to go, to enter state and go into your own Akashic record. Practice makes perfect. The better you can do this yourself, the better you'll be able to use the tools that are there, right? And the better you will be awake. Buddha's on the side of the road, filter and shift, exactly. That's what all, Jesus, Buddha, Vishnu, all of the ascended masters, that's why they're ascended masters. They're awake. They can't be fooled. They realize, Jesus was not so much bothered by getting nailed to the cross because he knew he wasn't going to die. He knew it wasn't even being that uncomfortable, The thing he didn't like, if you really, I forget which part of the Bible it is, but, it's kind of near Easter, right? And they have all had the big meal, and he goes out to pray. And he invites his boys to come and pray, right? And the girls want to, but, the orthodoxy says, oh, guys and girls praying together? Oh, can't have that. Anyway, so, he goes there, and he brings, what was the moron who kept falling asleep in the garden with him? So, there's Jesus talking to God, and he's not in doubt. He's not scared of dying. His whole life has been in preparation of this. He's not, but it's like, really? I got to do it with these morons? They don't, come on. I got to need let me hang with the girls at least. They're true blue. They're smarter. They can read. They smell better. That's what he was most upset about. Well, he wasn't worrying about dying. He was just pissed that these morons couldn't even stay awake, right? And he keeps waking that one guy up, and the guy won't see what's going on. It was right in front of his eyes. So, all I'm saying, that's what your guardian angel's there for, is to help you stay awake. And the more you lift the veil, the more you clear the fog, the more you ascend to your superconscious mind and become awake, the less you're going to be an ugly bag of water mud puppet, right? Those strings won't be there. You won't be that mud puppet. You may still, you're in your avatar, you're in body, so, you're have a certain physicality that, I keep saying I'm a moron. I keep forgetting to stay awake. I can go unconscious, but, my karma and the universe is so, I told you the story a couple of weeks ago. The universe had me drive by a speed trap But I was so unconscious, I said, "Oh, wait a minute! I always turn there," and I turned there, and I freaking got a speeding ticket. It's going to cost me $160 I don't have. And anyway, but it's a lot cheaper to get that little speeding ticket to say, "Slap, wake up, moron." So I get those little things every now and then because I'm a, you know, bag of water as the rest of you are. I just am your sensei Al Bob and try to stay awake a little bit, and keep my eyes open and I meditate 5, 6, 10, whatever it takes a day to stay awake. When I start to realize, oh, wait a minute, I'm getting unconscious here. Let me take a second here. And I go into state. And I go, okay. Now, too bad I didn't do that before I got the speeding ticket. Yep, that's right. Bag of water with all those dots to connect. Yep, exactement. And that's what being awake is about, till we ascend to that higher self. And we are being put into a position in time and space in history that is here all the time, but right now we're experiencing it as this time of we better get awake and get on top of this, or else we're going to have another 900 years of pretty nasty dark ages. I really don't want that. And the more we practice the staying state, even if the morons have to do that, because that's what free will is about, we don't have to do that, right? And the more, that's why I keep, died 6 times and I keep giving the choice, and I should know by now, I have to stay here until I finish the job. And I am, so I haven't really died six times. And even I didn't really die when I ended up in that bowl of spaghetti with the desperate lawyers and ending up in the hospital where they wanted to cut me up and cut my legs off. And I said no. I was awake enough to say no. And I was lucky enough to have a really kick-ass scary lawyer right there with me who, I said, don't let these guys do anything to me. You're my lawyer. You make sure. If they even go to do anything to me, sue the shit out. When I wake up next time, I want us to own this hospital. And, they knew who he was, so they did what he said. So that's why I still have my legs. Almost dead. Mostly dead. Right. Princess Bride. Yep. And so I've been in that category a number of times. He's dead. Almost dead. Not quite dead. Not dead all the way, And when I'm there, that's when you're conscious about, being in the other realms. And meaning I saw, the first time I died, I actually OD'd on marijuana. That's how sensitive I am. I was in that's a whole nother story. I was in the Boys Athletic League's summer camp for city kids. And I was around marijuana a lot. I was in the theater, I was in rock and roll, but I never did any of that stuff because I didn't need to, And the fact I didn't, all of the big wigs loved me, like the producers and the people who owned clubs loved my ass because I wasn't doing drugs and I could be responsible. Died in a bowl of spaghetti. Yep. Yep. Well, most of this would make a really good. If any of you guys are movie producers, I got about 10 amazing movies. I mean, all you got to do is look at these chats and the stories I tell. A good number of those chats would make a good movie. Anyway, so that's where we are. We're at this place where we have synchronistically come all together. All the things are coming together very nicely. And it's actually the best, Dickens, it's the best of times. It's the worst of times. We're all going to heaven. We're all going the other way. That's my other top 10 books, The Tale of Two Cities. Now there is love. Now there's, the English lawyer guy meets this woman, takes care of her, gets her out of a debtor's prison, and she wants to go back to Paris because her boyfriend, who's this lawyer guy's brother, and he goes, "I'll go get him." He goes there and realizes that this is his twin brother, looks just like him. And you'd think the woman who's wants to go back and put her life in jeopardy to save this dirtbag, because that's what he is, would think, oh look, this lawyer who just saved my life, who's really rich, who really seems to like me a lot. Maybe I should just burn my eyes and pretend that's him because he looks just like him. Nope. She wants to go back to Paris and spring the dirtbag. So our hero, the lawyer, goes, and the only way he can, he's going to bribe the people. No, the only way, because this guy's such a dirtbag that he is ready for the guillotine. And the only way he can spring this guy is to take his place. Now, he knows he's a dirtbag, but he loves this woman so much, he is ready to sacrifice himself so she can be happy. Now, that's true love. It's a far, far better thing I do now than I've ever done before. And that's kind of where we are, gang. We are at that tale of two cities. We're at that place where we can really, and we don't even have to get our head cut off. That's the good thing about it. We can have a good time doing this, and we don't even have to get our head cut off, right? And so that's where we are, right? So it's 41 minutes and 28 seconds. So at 41:41, I say we go into state, and we go back to our own sanctuary of our own choosing, and meet up on that beautiful little meadow in front of the gazebo, and let us. What I want to do is show you how to go through the back door of all of these other 9 doors. If you don't want to go and bring in a master through the fireplace, you can go through the back door from your sanctuary. And by doing that, you are at least protected on a spiritual level, in that there are things that go in the bump in the night in all these places. Now, you've gone into, I think, 6 of them, and even the darker ones, like death. I've taken you to death a couple of times. I've taken you into, the kingdom of 8 kings of magic. These are kind of dark. Could be, the average person would be scared to insanity, but you guys seem to come out alive because you each had a master with you. Now, this coming through the back door of your sanctuary will give you a little experience, again, to ascend, that little step. Because once you go in there, what you are experiencing is you have the residue. That you can't really go into those places unless you have the residue of that master with you. I mean, the master is always with you. You don't have to come through the fireplace and go kiss you on each cheeks and go arm to arm. It's nice. It's a nice little ceremony. I'm a shaman. I have to put things in a ceremony kind of way for you to relate to it, so you can understand it, so you can then be responsible yourself. So I'm now giving you another little tool. It's called a back door. And when you go through there, you're still protected. I can't do this to places that you haven't been with a master. So I'm only going to go to places, the other 3 doors that you haven't gone through yet. You don't even know what they are. So, they're safe from you. You can't even pick the lock. So I thought we'd go into state and go through the back door into the fairyland, because that is a good place to go. Safe, first thing to try to go into by yourself, through the back door, because they all know you, you've all been there, and they're all of good heart. They're not, they played pranks on you, but they won't, take advantage, unless you're a real jerk, but you're not. So 44, 43, 44. There we go. So here we go. So everybody get in a nice comfy spot, you know, breathe deep, focus your conscious mind on your breath, go deeper and deeper. And you've all experienced this enough so you don't have to, again, once we go someplace, you will be able to communicate through the chat and still be in state. You've all experienced that. So you're all in a comfortable, safe spot, and your conscious mind is focused on your breath. You're breathing in the prana, the life force of the universe all around you. So breathe in the prana and see it go into your lungs. And it energizes your lungs, heals your lungs. Every cilian fiber is being energized by the prana. And the blood is being pumped through your lungs. And your blood is taking that prana. And it's not blub, blub, blub through your arteries and veins and cellular structure of your body. It's swirling. It's going clockwise against the walls of your blood vessels and arteries and veins. And then inside that it's going counterclockwise, and inside of that it's going clockwise. And what that's doing is creating an electromagnetic flux in your body. You are an electrochemical device. Your heart has more juice in it than a car battery, And all of that current is flowing through your, highly energized, iron-rich blood, and it's bringing the healing, energetic information to every cell of your body. And the mitochondria is like the little battery of your cells, and you see the little lightning bolts, and you see your whole body being energized, and you are taking that energy in. The prana comes from above, from the Father. You breathe it in, you energize your body, and you ground out through the chi, Mother Earth. So the thing that animates you, that gives you life, is the prana and the grounding in your chi, And whenever you're into martial arts, your chi is everything, That's how you move, how you step and sweep and step. That's what martial arts is all about. And if you're a good martial artist, it's only because you have energized your body with the prana, and the chi gives you the fluid motion that you can move through anything, right? So see it clearly. I'm going to count from 1 to 3. And as I do, you're going to go into a deep, deep, deep state of conscious relaxation. And 1, your conscious mind is totally focused on your breath. Your prana has illuminated every cell of your body, and you see yourself in your imaginary mirror. That's right behind your eyelids. That's where you have REM sleep. That's where you dream. Good. Your body is tingly. That's because every one of those little cells is being energized by the prana and grounded through the chi, and you're breathing out. You get rid of more toxins through your breath than, elimination in any other way. Like thousands of cubic feet of toxins come out of it. And so if you're conscious about your breath, you can heal anything, any lung disease, any blood disease, anything, just by visualizing in your imaginary mirror there. Yep, yep, yep. And now you take that light and you focus it like a flashlight into your subconscious mind. And your subconscious isn't a scary place. It is your Akashic record. It's a library of everything your soul has ever done. From the beginning, from the alpha to the omega. So you see the past, present, and future, And that's the beauty of Dickens' Christmas Carol, because Dickens was talking about the whole dynamic of multiple universes and that we're there at the same time. The four ghosts that came to him came from different dimensions. Marley was dead, so he came from death, And then Christmas Past, who was all those different faces and arms and legs, but still a little child, innocent, past. And then Christmas Present, this big, wild, and crazy, kind of like me, party guy. People say, "Are you Santa Claus?" No, I say, I am Santa's younger brother, Bob Claus. I take care of the naughty and nice list. And that was Christmas Present. And he was a young, virile, strong, strapping, happy king of Christmas, resting on, a throne of good cheer, Al Claus, that's it. Anyway, and future, and that's us. We, in our Akashic record, we see past, present, and future all at the same time. Now the future, it's not quite, there. It's not quite baked. It's not toasted. You can kind of taste it, smell it. It's kind of going to be, but not exactly what it's going to be, because there's so many variables. Future has a lot of variables. So you can say, and that's why I'm really good at trends. That's why I got the big bucks, because I can kind of go, So I'm telling you about the near future, next 3 months, we could end up toast. But we could, I'm amazed that we're still here. I expected to be living in a cave back in 1980. But we're still here, meaning the positive potential. Meaning, so I saw, okay, we're living in caves eating gruel, or we're actually gonna ascend. We're gonna, age of Aquarius. All that new age crap is just that. It's advertising, because the new age is actually the old age. It's the same new world order, idea, that's, hasn't happened yet. Why? Because it's not supposed to. Ooh, yes, that's going to be interesting. Yep, Jupiter-Mars conjunction, which is a lot of juice. Mars, everyone disses Mars, disses Aries. It's like Scorpios. They're just misunderstood. Everyone has a good side, right? So if you let Mars not kill everyone, not start wars, but be very focused on attaining the best we can be. We all have an angel on one shoulder and a devil on the other. And every nanosecond we get to choose. And all you have to look at is Daffy Duck, Donald Duck, and the coyote, the roadrunner, to see where being your worst self can get you, right? So there you are in your Akashic record, and you're walking up to your reading table. You sit down at your reading chair. The light is coming from above and illuminating everything very well. And your librarian brings your Akashic record. At your left is your librarian, and to their left is your animal totem and your guardian angel to the left of your animal totem. And one, you're in a deep, deep, deep state of relaxation, going deeper and deeper. Your conscious mind is totally focused on your breath. You have left your avatar, and your consciousness has gone into your Akashic record, located in your subconscious mind. And you're sitting at your reading table, and you open up your Akashic record, that big book, and there's two blank pages. You put your right hand on the right page, your left hand on the left page, and you lean into the book and you empty, like you let water flow from you. The angst, the anger, the frustration, the fear, the self-doubt, self-loathing, you let it all go into your Akashic record. And once you are emptied of all that negativity, you close the book. Boom. And now it's all in your Akashic record. You could open it up right now and look at that, and you would see, you got the big screen where the information is. Then you got the 28 screens all around, giving you different angles. From every angle within the four-dimensional thing of the avatar, and then another 24 from scalar points of view, other dimension points of view, every aspect that you would need to say, oh, look at that. That's not a big deal. Why did I even think that way? How come that happened? Look, that's why that happened. So I'm not doing that again. And that is why this process is good. That's why I continually go to this process of you eliminating all of that negativity into your Akashic record so you can go back and look at it. This is better than any shrink you can, the best shrink you can have is you. And why I suggest to practice this before you go to sleep and before you get out of bed. Before you go to sleep, you again empty, you eliminate all of the negative angst from your body, from the past to from that day, from anything. Take it all out of you, because negative issues can have a real residual. You can scrub it out, but there's still that little ring around the bathtub. And that's why you need to, eliminate that negativity. It's like a toilet. Once you start flushing all the stuff that's more recent, it will take the older stuff. It's like a colonic. It's really amazing. You're on the table, they got the thing up your butt. You're watching, they have that little piece of glass tube, and you watch the birthday cake from when you were 6 go flying by, It's pretty amazing when you can see the crap leave your body, and that's what this process is. You can see all the negativity leave your body right now. You feel light, refreshed, like a new person, because you have eliminated as much that you can. All the stuff that happened today, got rid of, not a problem. Yesterday, not a problem. All the way back a year or two, not a problem. But when it starts to get into older stuff, it's kind of caked on. So that's why we need to do this in a daily manner. So before you go to sleep, you kind of do that. And now you're free to have a great night's sleep. Not only that, you can say, oh, I want to dream about flying through the air with Superman, on other planets. You can dream about anything by just telling yourself when you're in state before you go to sleep. And then you just kind of turn over and you're still in state. And instead of meditative, going into that deeper meditation where you're seeing stuff in your Akashic record and you're in the doors and this and that, you can just kind of go to sleep. And you'll have the best sleep you've ever had, man, if you do this every night. In the whatever amount of time that you have to sleep, like 2 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours, 8 hours, 10 hours, 12 hours, you will sleep like you've had 20 hours of sleep. You will wake up refreshed the next morning. And if you tell yourself, not only do I want to dream about this, I want to remember everything I've ever seen in my dreams that night, right? So when you wake up, you'll go, wow. And instead of getting out of bed and hitting your feet on the floor, you basically go into state, go in your Akashic record, open it up, and put your dreams there so you can go back and look at them. And then you can, again, take them apart forensically. Look at every angle, 28 angles, and see what your dreams are about, because your dreams are the heads up of what's going on in your life. So if you put all the angst and fear and self-loathing in the book every night, and then put all your dreams that you had that evening into the book, and then go back and look at them, you will have some really interesting results, and you'll be able to travel further than you ever thought you could through your life right now. You can manifest the best thing out of your life, especially if you serve your life for the betterment of all your relations. You'll have a great life. The universe, look at me, homeless guy. I got, living on $300-400 a month, and yet I'm living like a millionaire, right? And I own nothing, have nothing, and that's a level of freedom that most people don't even know what to do with, Whoops. Hit the magic button. Controls the lights in the house. It's a Christmas thing. It costs $40 before Christmas. It costs $12 after. Anyway, so 1, you're in a deep state of conscious relaxation. Your avatar, you are no longer in. You're sitting in your Akashic record, a library of your Akashic record. To your left is your librarian, your animal totem, and your guardian angel, right? You have eliminated all the anger, fear, frustration, self-loathing, hate out of your consciousness, and it's in your Akashic record. You can go back and look at it at your own leisure. But for now, you're going to get up, you're going to stretch, and you're going to walk over to the right, and there's the 9 doors, and there's the 10th that's open, because the door doesn't need to be closed, because that is the doorway to your sanctuary of your own choosing. It is where your superconscious mind is. So you walk through the doorway, your hands on the railing, you go up some steps, you're on a bridge of your id, from your subconscious, going over the bridge of the id, and you're at the top and you're looking down into your sanctuary of your own choosing. See the big view, see everything that's there, everything that makes it special to you as your sanctuary. And then you walk down the bridge of your id, and you step off the bridge onto the ground, and it's like you're embraced by love's co-creation, because that's where love is. That's where God. I don't like using that word, because within the context of all these weird languages, it's the name of God is unknown, except the only true God is love. So we know, love is a word that is can't be tarnished. It can't be spoiled, because love's unconditional forgiveness, love's unconditional understanding, and love's unconditional co-creation is the only reality there is. Everything else is an illusion. So when we go to our sanctuary of our own choosing, that's what we are enveloped in, caressed in. That's what we like. As soon as our any part of our anything touches our sanctuary, bingo, we are energized not only with the energy of love's creation that we're breathing and the grounding. No, this is something way different. It's like 100%, 1,000,000% real. And you can't be, diluted or eluded or taken out of context with love's co-creation. So you're stepping into your sanctuary, and you're walking over towards where the gazebo is, and there's this beautiful a meadow, and that kind of slopes up so everyone sitting at their picnic blankets with their picnic baskets can see what entertainment is on or information or what's going on the gazebo. And you go over to where your picnic blanket is and your basket and whatever yummies that you really would want to taste. There it is. You know, the little cup of the old crone's teas. There's 3 thermoses in there. You can drink any one you want. And around you is your cadre. You know, all of you who are chatting, you are all sitting around each other. You're looking at each other. You're seeing each other. You know, you are connected to each other through love's co-creation. So you kind of, I want you to kind of lie back on your beautiful little blankie and let the sun from above just toast you, like a marshmallow. And where it goes all the way through every cell, every essence, every nuance of your existence from the beginning to the end. And it's putting it in a sweet, soft, and you're all coming together. And you are individual conscious within the great link of, as Jung calls it, the collective, right? So, you don't even have to move. Just keep your eyes closed and go to dreamy dreamland together. And you can see that there's a big old tree over near the lake. And you all are walking together in a link without even the illusion of your avatar. And you walk to that tree, and in the tree, there's a little sliver, right? It's a sliver. It's a crack. And this goldish kind of light, and bubbles are coming out of it. And all you have to do is get yourself close to that little sliver of golden light and let it shine upon your consciousness. And let one of those bubbles just pop into your consciousness. And there you are. You're right there in fairyland, right? And again, fairyland on the outside are any of these doors that you see in the land of illusion of your meat puppet reality. It's not real. That's why you don't have to be scared of it. You see a scary monster? It's just the scratches on the cellulose of the illusion. It's on the, it's not it's an illusion, right? But here, in your sanctuary of your own choosing, because you were totally surrounded, connected, and brought to consciousness through love's co-creation, whatever you see is real in that time, in that moment, not in any past or future, in that time and in that moment, to give you the ability to understand that perspective so you can ascend higher. Because within those 9 doors are perspectives that you need to understand and to share and co-create with, right? It's, again, another tool, a vehicle, So you are there and you are standing right at the access to the fairy circle. And the fairy circle is kind of like the fireplace. There's a fire in the middle, and you dance around it, you share energy with all the different elements of fairyland, and they can give you perspective of those 9 doors, or anything in the illusionary world. Yes, you see, a fairy in the illusionary world. All it is a shadow of what's here. So what's here, you can get an understanding of what's in the mud puppet land through the shadows that you can see there. It's again, if you go read Plato's treatise on the cave, where you're in the cave and there's the hole behind you where the light of reality is coming through and making a shadow on the back of the cave. And you think that shadow is reality. So you don't ever turn around and walk out of the cave and have a real life in consciousness, right? And that's why we're all so deluded, because we believe in the shadow rather than the essence of being awake in conscious state. And that's where you are right now in fairyland. You're awake in conscious state. That's why you can be protected in fairyland. That's why everyone in fairyland will be very sweet and kind to you, because they're understanding your presence there gives them the opportunity to fix the things out in the illusionary world that are affecting them here. And that's one of the issues in dimensional dynamics, is that everything has an effect on everything else. Now, in the illusionary world, the only effect it can have on conscious is an illusion, right? As shadow. And if you're conscious, awake, well then you can't be distracted or taken down the wrong path by a shadow, right? Because you go, oh, that's the shadow. But you can look at the shadow and say, because that's why in the Bible it says, and in the beginning everything was dark. And then the word came and said, let there be light. Well, there was already, love's co-creation in the dark. What is the dark? But the presence of every color in the universe. And all that light does is it illuminates the shadow. So, and the shadow gives us context to what's going on in our spiritual life. And that's why the yin yang symbol, there's the event horizon of everything. And then there's that curvy swirl, that's the path of life, right? It's not a straight path, it's a nice curved little path. One side is dark, one side is light. Dark side has a dot, white side has a dark dot, right? What that is, right? So there is everything that's dark. Dark matter is 99.9009% of what the universe is. In the light area where we are is, because that light illuminates the shadow, the illusion, and all we really get to see is 0.00095% of the universe. So in the darkness is pretty much everything. In the light, it's just a shadow. And this is the problem of us living as avatar mud puppets. When we decided to cut the string and separate ourselves rather than being in the collective, right, conscious of love's co-creation, we stepped out on our own. And because we have free will, we can do that, We might get burned. We may have an eternity of hell, but it's our choice, It's like Daffy Duck, angel on one side, devil on the other. Every nanosecond, got to choose. So here we are in fairyland. And I'm going to be quiet. And pretty much every one of you is going to find yourself an avatar in fairyland. What do you want to be? You want to be Puck? You want to be a leprechaun? You want to be, anything within the realm of the fairyland that you're seeing, you can be an avatar. Just like in the movie Avatar, where they go to where the guys are big and blue and the white spindly little humans have to experience them by being, so that's what you're going to do. You're going to go there. You are there now. You're in the fairy circle, and I'm going to be quiet, and you're going to spend a nice 2-week vacation being an avatar of one of the members of Fairyland. So you can get a real 411 perspective on what it is. So you won't be scared of it. You won't be freaked out by it. You won't deny it. You will get perspective. You'll see what it is. And again, this is a tool for you to understand your separation, right? Why you decided to cut the string, you know? But you realize by going into state, you've never really cut the string. It's just an illusion, right? So I'm going to be back here, breathing, going to state myself, and you guys right now are going to have a nice 2-week vacation in fairyland. See it clearly. In 3, you're in a deep, deep, deep state of relaxation. Your conscious mind is totally focused on your breath. You have illuminated yourself with your breath, taking the prana in through your lungs and healing every cell, grounding yourself with your chi, and you've taken that illumination, and within your imaginary mirror, you have taken that light and illuminated your subconscious, and you've gone to your Akashic record, and you have eliminated all the anger and fear and placed it in your Akashic record. And after illuminating yourself and putting your fear and anger into your Akashic record to look at the next time, and dusted off your ability to go into state and realize that you need to practice it more. And the more you practice, the easier it'll get. But you've gotten up and you've walked over to the open doorway of your superconscious mind, where the sanctuary of your choosing is, and you've all of you, walked over your ids into your sanctuary, and as soon as you stepped in, you've been surrounded by love's co-creation, and you feel amazingly fresh, rejuvenated, and you've gone over to where the gazebo is, and there's that beautiful nice lawn where everyone has their little blankie and their little basket of yummies, and you've sat down and you lie down and let the sun toast you up, and you feel great and connected and interlinked with all of you, and you're all in that meadow, and you're all on your little blankies that have come together in one big blankie, and all of your relations are feeling the connection of your being in the collective of all your relations. And you have, without your body, without even the thought of your avatar, you've gone as energy together as the collective over to the big tree, a tree of life, that alchemical tree where everything comes from. It's right by the lake, which is the water of all substance that gives life. And you've seen in the tree a little crack at the base. And this golden light is coming out with bubbles. And you focus on the light and it totally surrounds you. And a bubble pops on you. And there you are. You are in the world of the fairies. And you're standing at the fairy circle. And you are all surrounded by the fairies. And you feel welcomed and safe and secure in fairyland. And I was quiet. And as I was quiet, you went and became an avatar of one of the fairies that you see, right? And that fairy came and helped you with understanding what fairyland is and being able to interact and connect within love's co-creation and see that fairyland is simply a tool. And each of the 9 doors, they are lands, they are worlds, they are environments where once you learn to be safe in them, you can use them as a tool to understand the deeper connections and deeper understandings of being awake. And you can ascend to your higher conscious, step by step by step. And that's where you've been, and this is where you are, and you all are interconnected through love's co-creation. You are a cadre. Now you feel it more than you have felt it ever, and you are a avatar of the fairies, and see which fairy you are, and remember this clearly. So when we come back, we can all chat about it, or we can chat about it now, because you have gotten the ability to be in state and chat in this material plane. It means you're getting better at spiritual doing things, more than one thing at a time. See it clearly. I'm going to be quiet for a little bit more, and you will travel through the fairyland and become comfortable with the avatar within the fairyland that you are. And you will not lose your consciousness in this process. You will just gain a larger perspective and be given a tool like a hammer or a screwdriver or whatever visualization of tool the fairyland will give you that will enable you to see and understand clearer. See it well. See it clearly. See the connection. See the experience. Be there now. At 3, you're in a deep, deep, deep state of relaxation, conscious relaxation. You are no longer in your avatar, your physical avatar, in the meat puppet state of illusion. Where you are is in the avatar of fairyland. And you've experienced a number of weeks being that fairy and what that fairy can teach you and what all of Fairyland can teach you. By becoming an avatar in Fairyland, you become more connected with Fairyland, in that you're no longer to them an other. You're no longer someone to spoof. You are now part of all their relations. See it clearly. And the avatar that you become in Fairyland is part of the cadre. See that? So within the context of our adept cadre, you now have another perspective, another plane of existence to understand who and what you are, and our connection altogether. So when we come back and chat, we can come from that point of view. And I'm going to count from 3 to 1. And when I say 1 the last time, I'll stop my fingers and you're right back here. And 3. Your conscious mind is totally focused on your breath. And your avatar is safe and secure. And you are coming out of the tree into your sanctuary. And you look back at that little crack and you can see all the way down, like you have a telescope, down into Fairyland. And you can see all the fairies and they're all waving, blowing you kisses. And the little bubbles are coming out and popping on you, and you just feel so like little kisses kissing you. With each bubble, you taste an amazing taste and have an amazing smell, and you become satiated. So if you want to lose weight, get healthy, all you have to do is go into your sanctuary of your own choosing, go over to the tree, look at the crack, and look with a telescope into Fairyland, and they will blow kisses and bubbles at you that will enable you to lose weight and get healthier. And with the conjunction of breathing in the prana and grounding in your chi, you can overcome anything. Yep, take all you want. More than you need. Yep. So you can be satiated. And that is one of the great gifts of grace. It's when you can be satiated, when you can appreciate, when you can, oh, I can't have that. No, when you can, but you don't eat so much, you die, you are satiated. Take all that you want, all that you need. You just don't need to take any more than what it takes to satiate you. See that clearly. And 2, you're in a deep, deep, deep state of relaxation. You find yourself lying on your blankie with all your cohorts kind of in a nice little love puddle. And you kind of all get up and stretch, and you look over at the lake, and there all of your guides are having a great old time in the lake, swimming and splashing, and they've dropped all of their guide, ness, and they're just having a good old time. And they wake up, they're like puppies. They just like, oh, they're ready to go. Let's go. So you're all walking towards the bridge. You're all walking over the bridge of your your id to your ego. You walk into your sanctuary of your Akashic record, which is your ego. And there to your left of your reading table is your librarian, your animal totem, your guardian angel, just as you always see them. They've left that puppy stage and got there before you got there, and they're all like, see, we're all ready. And you bow with grace and gratitude and humility, and they smile, and you turn around, and 2, you feel greatly relaxed, rejuvenated, informed, and expanded. See it clearly. And you're in your imaginary mirror, surrounded by the white light of your prana breathing. Your conscious mind is totally focused on your breath. And as you're breathing in and you feel the prana going through your blood and your body, and every cell is rejuvenated, you come back into your avatar. You feel relaxed and you feel yourself seated or lying or however you are in one. You become more awake, more conscious, see clearly. And one, you're back in your avatar, totally awake, and you're stretching, you're opening your eyes, and you feel great. So, how was that? What kind of fairies were you guys? Ooh. I'm still here, are you? Jupiter, my husband is Scorpio, Moon, Mars, first house. Yep. What did I miss? So here it is, 1 hour, 31 minutes, and 12 seconds, 13 seconds, 14 seconds. We didn't get disconnected, I don't think. Have you guys come back into your avatars? Back into body? How you feeling? So we've had two really long little chats. One was an hour and 40 minutes, and this one's an hour and 31 minutes. I'm going to go get some soup. You guys come back and start chatting. I'll be right back. I'm back. Let's see. So is anybody there? Says there's 7 of you. No one has texted anything. Well, let's see. It's 1 hour and 34 minutes. So in the next 3 minutes, if you guys don't start texting away, I will kind of hang up the shop. Oh, maybe I'll start talking. So this comes into my mind. So you guys, I told the story about my grammar school, right? And the interesting cadre that I had, third grade through eighth, and how it kind of text something, y'all. Yep. My next thing I'm going to learn is I'm going to get some kind of, because I assume that if I had a laptop and I could type, I could like